So on the crypto side,
Yeah.
obviously you guys, Reddit has announced or rumored
Oh,
the
yeah.
ERC20 token.
What are
What
these
I-
rumors, eh?
well, here's what I'll say is I probably more than most understand. There's certain things you can say, you can't say, etc. Maybe just talk about kind
Yeah.
of crypto within the Reddit system. Why something other than Bitcoin? Was Bitcoin ever considered? Just kind of whatever you're comfortable saying there.
So I have to unfortunately keep very mum about this. What I can say is the thing, we had Reddit, the company had some forays into crypto, and some of your Twitter people had remarked on this. When I came back in 14 as executive chair, there were some forays into it, but it was mostly still research. We had much more pressing things to handle at that point. Much more pressing things. And like, for instance, we didn't have a mobile team or plan or anything. Like, it was more important in 2014 that Reddit have a mobile app and a mobile website, and that we were building towards that, for instance. But I have always believed the long-term value of Reddit is not going to come from advertising. It will come from the fact that we've already done the hardest part. We have managed to build a platform that handles tens of thousands of communities and hundreds of millions of users who truly have a sense of community and belonging with one another. And we know, and a lot of this was inadvertent, frankly. Like, we didn't have a grand vision in 2005 to do this, but we watched it happen, and I had a front row seat. I was the first community manager for our first 10 communities. I would just post links under different usernames and moderate submissions so that everyone stayed on sort of task and subject. And we've watched, whether it's digital goods and gaming, right? I want to buy a skin so I look nice for myself and for my friends and for strangers, right? There's a small tribe there of like people and then people you'll randomly sort of shoot and walk away from in the video game. But on Reddit, people will buy pizzas for strangers. People have such a much stronger tribal spirit and community spirit that if you could take the best lessons learned from digital goods and gaming, things like tipping on Twitch or Patreon, and provide a very seamless digital transaction for that, it will happen. It will happen a lot. And like, even awards, the first version of Reddit awards, I modeled after the awards at the end of GoldenEye, where you'd have some that made sense, and then you'd have these like random, like RCP 90 award. I forget. There was some random, and like, we didn't really have, I don't even know if we ever looked it up. We would have used Hotbot. I don't know. We wouldn't have Googled it back then. But like, we liked, as gamers, we really liked this idea of, oh, you get this award if you do certain good things over the course of a day. And that was just V1, and that was like 2006. So before any of this award stuff, gamification, any of that stuff was a thing, we did it just because we were copying GoldenEye. And what I wish we had done was double down on it back then, because what we're already seeing now, even with small, modest improvements to awards, is that users love giving them to one another. They love subreddits. Communities love creating them. It reinforces this tribalism. And the more that we can do to help communities and users strengthen their relationships to one another and make money in a way that they're happy with, like, the more we win. And it just seems like a logical transition then, if we know, I just gave you the Horizon experience with Skyweaver, right? If we know this stuff works where you don't have any ownership whatsoever, and it's a massive industry and growing, it reasons to be that if you allow for a kind of ownership and a kind of decentralization to it, that people would do it even more, because they could feel all the feels we get when we, take a cup and say, hey, do you want this cup? Here you go. So, and then me not have this cup anymore, of course. And so I wish I could tell you more about it. I love the fact that there is this much energy here. Yeah. And I do think long-term, a big part of my job on the board, especially right now, while, Reddit's traffic, like every UGC site, is booming, we can reasonably all expect marketing dollars to soften. And so now is the time for companies like Reddit to double down on revenue streams that are like this, that are accretive, that are things that build on community dynamics, that actually add value to everyone involved, and eschew the sort of traditional models of marketing, or at least, remove our reliance on them as a business.
Yeah.